everyone, and for the first time in a long time, welcome back to Bot War. I should say as we get started here that the cardboard plate area and buildings and whatnot were provided to the channel for free by the creator of Bot War, but all the miniatures you're going to see have been purchased, most of which are from the first edition starter set, which was unboxed on the channel, although more recently we unboxed the second edition. We'll be using the second edition rulebook, which is here. We're actually doing the first scenario in the second edition rulebook today, in a 80-point match between the Valiant and the Atlanticans. If you're not familiar with Bot War, it's super simple to follow. Two teams of bots, or sometimes vehicles. Move, shoot, gather resources, try to have the most victory points, or wipe out the enemy with some dice down here. They're again super simple to follow. Red dice are shield dice, purple dice are black dice, purple dice are attack dice, black dice are crit dice, which can be used for attacking or defending depending on circumstance. So we'll be playing on the city map today. I'll go over the scenario after we take a look at the two teams. So here is the 6 miniatures making up the Valiant side. They are listed from left to right in quickest strategy rating to slowest, because the game activates in that order. So from left to right we have Top Star, and he also, in front of them are the number of purple energy cubes that they are giving to the team, and then you can distribute them within a given turn. They don't have to go to the person who generated them. You can have someone do nothing in order to let someone else maybe do their ultimate, which costs more energy than normal, that kind of stuff. So Top Star is providing 1 energy cube. Then we have Wolf, who's providing 2. We have Artemis, yes, providing 2, Angel providing 2, Broadsword providing 3, and he is not from the starter set. And then right at the end there we have General Duke also providing 3. And behind them, these two things, they're related to the scenario, so don't worry about them yet. So for the Atlanticans, they have the numbers advantage and can't fit them all into frame, so we're just going to go from left to right. Again, they're in strategy rating order, so quickest to slowest, but the people who activate slower are generally more powerful. So we have Stingray on the left there, generating 2 power. Then we have Mori, who's also generating 2 power. Then Egon, producing 2 power. Nami, and then we're going to have to, in Veto, just move the camera here, over here, apologies. Oh, there we go, more or less. Then we have Thermal, Nebulous, and they're both generating 3. Then we have the Crab suit, which is, it's a mech suit, providing 3, and he, in order to make up the points, has been given an upgrade card called Human Agent, which lets him use the Scout role at the start of the game, which is essentially a free move as well, and they have the same 2 objective types as the Valiants. We'll get them set up and then we'll go over the scenario specifics. So we are all set up and good to go with the Valiants to your left and the Atlanticans to your right, but we'll look closer where they are. For this scenario, there's a 5-inch deployment zone on each side, so no better than 5 inches in, and each side has 2 energy cube objectives that they can place. They can't be within 6 inches of an edge, and they can be within 6 inches of each other. And then if you are the only side claiming one at the end of each turn, you get 1 extra energy cube for your little pool of energy that you use to make your bots do things, and 1 victory point as well. Game ends after 8 turns, with whoever has the most victory points being declared the winner, unless there is a complete wipeout of one side before that. So, we can quickly take a look at the Valiants here, as I get a text message, apologies. Right up the edge there, you will notice that the Crab suit is right there thanks to that scout move. They can be deployed anywhere out of line of sight, or if they can be seen within 11 inches at most, or sorry, but outside of 11 inches. The Atlanticans over here, basically in a line with their 2 energy objectives right in front of them as well, and I think the other 2 were already visible. 1 is down here in the pond, and then 1 in the street over there. So you go by strategy rating in this game, and as for which side goes first, there is a rule, I think it's optional, but we'll use it here, that Valiants always go first in a tie. But if the Valiants aren't here, you can just roll a d6 and it works just as well. So with that, let's jump into battle round 1. So the quickest strategy rating on both sides is a strategy rating 4, and Valiants go first. So Top Star activate, he's efficient, so he gets to do 1 of his actions per turn for free. He did a move, he can move 7 inches, he moved from here on to the far side of the pond there, but within, I think it is 2 inches, or maybe it's 1 inch. Either way, he's within 1 inch to be claiming that back objective right there, and he's saving a couple of energy cubes for boosting defense, because you can boost attacks or defense if you have some leftover cubes. So Stingray was first up for the Atlanticans, being their fastest at SR4 as well. He was standing there, but then he spent 2 cubes to start his turn to use his once per game alt air support, where you triple his movement, which is normally 8, so give him 24 to play with in order to shoot down the board. So that's why we're having to do the move cam. He came all the way to the far side of the building here. He's only allowed to do ranged attacks. He did initiate one against General Duke down here. He rolled 5 on his attack. In this game, short range is 0 to 10 inches for ranged attacks. Long range is 11 to 24. And you lose dice if you're doing a long range attack, or a die I should say. Now General Duke, he's tough. He gets 4 shield dice, and as you can see, he rolled 5 shields, which means he took no damage from the attack, which is just as well because the attack has the blast rule. So if he had taken damage, it would have done 1 true damage to any one friend or foe within 2 inches of him, I think, which would have been bad for broadside. But such as it is, no damage done. Next up for the Valiants, we're up to strategy rating 5. It was Wolf, who was standing here. There isn't much he can do from that side of the table, unfortunately. He also did have Scout Forgot, so he could have been anywhere on the board for deployment. But given where the objectives are, I guess he wants to just camp. So he can move up to 7. He moved just to kind of try and make sure no one can come sneaking in and land on that side of the objective to claim it. And it's up to some other people to go push the other side of the table. So the Valiants do have another strategy rating 5, but you alternate if you have same strategy rating on both sides. So it was over to Mori for the Atlanticans, who also spent 2 cubes to do his once per game air support. He flew all the way down here and initiated a ranged attack. There's the roll for it, because again it's in short range. He scored a 3 against Wolf, who spent 1 energy cube to boost his defense. Normally he's 3 shield dice, but that made him 4, but as you can see it was a pretty disastrous roll, and he took 2 damage of his 6 HP, so it's that easy to have something go wrong. Well, what goes around comes around. Next up was Artemis for the Valiant. He moved 7 inches, and he did so in front of Wolf, shooting through the buildings as well. Decided he could see enough of Mori that cover would not be a thing, because he could see 75% of him. So standard attack, 3 ranged dice. However, he gets a reroll because he's a sharpshooter. Managed to get 4, and what comes around goes around, because Mori, 3 shield dice, 1 success. That means 3 damage to him, just like that, of his 6 health as well. So this is where the strategy rating way that the game works comes into play, because the next strategy rating up from a 5 is 7s. And there's only 1 7 in the Valiants. It's Angel, whose turn we'll cover in a second. She actually had a very good turn. But then the Atlanticans get 4 activations in a row, I think, before the Valiants get another one, because their next strategy rating is an 8, whereas the Atlanticans have a bunch of 7s. So Angel moved for 1 cube, initiated a ranged attack. She's also a sharpshooter, rerolled 1 die, and did very well. Got a 7 on her roll. Mori, 3 shield, Stingray, had 3 defense dice. You can't see the result because of the rock. He only blocked 2 of it, so he took a massive 5 damage of his 6 HP. He's still kicking, but that is a very swingy result so early in the game. So of the 4 activations that the Atlanticans get in a row now, we're going to cover 2 of those real quick. We're going to cover Nami and Aegon, because they're the 2 melee focused of the 4 that are going, and they're holding the backline objectives. They both initiated a move, so they were well within of each of the objectives to hold them, and that lets the 2 that are now going to activate that have more ranged attack focus, there and there, that's Thermal and Nebulous, get in there and help out Mori and Stingray. So as the other 2 activated, Thermal just charged forwards with 2 movement actions for 2 cubes, that's 14 in total. Put him down here, he's the one with the dual wield. And then Nebulous, he only moved 7 into this alley here, and then shot long range down at Artemis, so he lost a die, and it's doubly a shame because both of them have a roll called, I think it's Magnetic Disruption Gun, which means if they're shooting close range, 0 to 10 inches, they roll crit dice instead of normal dice, which don't have a fail on them, so you're guaranteed a minimum of 3 damage. But in this case, he lost a die for shooting long range. He got 2, but Artemis's defense blocked the damage. So that's all the SR7s. The Atlanticans only have the crab suit left, which is SR10, so now it's back over to the Valiants. So Broadsword was the SR8 for the Valiants activated. He moved up 7 and positioned himself in front of the objective here to stop the crab suit just coming down and getting close enough that it stops it being a scoring objective. because if there's any enemies within a distance, 1 or 2 inches, forgotten offhand, it will not score. So that way it should hopefully mean the crab suit can't get close enough. It meant that all he could really do was take a ranged action, which is not his forte. I mean, he's called broadsword, so that should be obvious. But he took a ranged attack, 3 dice, close range. Over here, once again, I'm afraid I'm going to have to move the rock here to show you the damage. Decided that 50% was obscured, so cover was given, which means you get an extra crit die. And it's just as well, because he only rolled 2 damage, but if it wasn't for that crit die, 1 damage would have got through and killed him. So 2 damage blocked, 2 damage dealt, no casualties, and now we're on to the SR10s, because there's no 9s on the table. Valiants go first in the category, so General Duke here is going to be activating, although that rock is going to be in the way, so he can't just take a shot and kill him. If he wants to get him, he's going to have to move round and hope for the best. Well, General Duke is a toughie. He moved up for 1 cube, didn't even move his full 7 inches, just again wanted to surround the objective so it counts as a scoring objective for the turn. Did a range attack, he gets 4 dice, didn't even need to boost, although that would have been an option. And it was against, I keep on forgetting if it's Mori or Stingray. It's Stingray who had 1 health. Again, we must move the magical boulder, and he was given cover because of the 50% obscure. Only Angel was in a position where she could see more than 50%. But that did not save him. Blocked 5, did a little bit more than 5, did 4 more than that, so there's our first casualty, which does a couple of things. Obviously removes the model from play, so it's gone from the list, but again, just reminding anyone who might not be familiar with Bot War or hasn't seen it in a while, the energy cubes that Stingray would generate at the top of each turn, they're also gone, so that means less to play with for the models that are still surviving. And with that, it's over to the crab suit to end the first battle round. Yep, so we're still staying where the rock is in the way, can't help it, sorry. The crab suit came round this side of the building, 7 inches to where Stingray had been, but he doesn't care much for cover. He wants to get into close combat when he can. He did do a range attack though, and he did spend 1 extra energy cube to boost it, to get an extra die thrown in, and he rolled pretty well. That is 5 on the attack. Angel just had basic defense, however, she would have been allowed a reroll, or was allowed a reroll rather, because of the inspiring presence of General Duke, and that helped a little bit. She blocked, I don't know if that is actually fully visible up there, she blocked 4, meaning all in all she only took 1 damage. She doesn't have a lot of HP though, that's the thing about the cheaper Valiants, they're not super tanky. She has 5 HP, so she's down to 4 left, and for instance Top Star, he's only got 4 health, so they are pretty easy to kill if shots land. But now we go to the scoring and see how things went. So just reading from the rulebook here for controlling the energy, which is how you determine points in this particular scenario. At the end of the turn, determine if any models are within 2 inches of any energy source. If there are, and there are no enemy models within 2 of the same energy source, add 1 energy cube to your pool for the power up phase in the next turn, and 1 victory point to the tally. Continue this until the end of the game, or 8 turns, or you wipe someone out, whichever happens first. The game is usually pretty quick regarding like kill time, so rarely does it go the full 8 turns. But either way, both sides have scored both their objectives. There is no contention as to whether or not there's enemies within, and there is allies within each. So that's 2 victory points to each side. The Atlanticans obviously tried to make a move to try and disrupt the Valiants from being able to score in turn 1. Didn't work out that well thanks to a couple of bad dice rolls. They might pay for that in the long run, or maybe they'll get the jump on them in turn 2. Well, they won't get the jump on them because Top Star is going to go first. But beyond that, who knows? Let's see what happens in battle round 2. So Top Star got the second turn started, SR4. He moved into the alley, he's the little blue bot there, and he used Efficient to do his move because that's the free action. Then he spent 2 in total on a boosted ranged attack into poor Mori. Yep, that's the surviving one. Mori, who also boosted his shield. Attack roll, 3 successes. Block roll, 2 successes. So 1 more damage to Mori, putting him at 2 health remaining. So now we're up to the SR5s. First up was Wolf. He stayed still and shot at Mori twice, so we're just going to cover the dice rolls. I consolidated the dice so I could have enough to show you what they did in both shots. His total damage on his first set of shots for 3 dice was 3. Mori easily blocked with a total of 4. Again, consolidated them onto 2 dice just so it's easy to show how much he defended against. He boosted his defense on his second turn, I believe, but was not enough. He rolled 2 in a total defense against 5 damage, meaning he took 3, and that is enough that he is taken out, which is doubly bad because he would have been the one to activate next because he's also SR5. But instead, it's over to Artemis because the Atlanticans don't have any other SR5s. They're up to 7 now. So Artemis charged through the alleyway from your left to right for 1 energy cube, then spent 2 on a boosted ranged attack against Thermal here, who spent an extra cube to buff his defense because normally he only gets 2 defense dice. But he rolled really well. He rolled the best possible result, in fact, and got 6, which counters the 6 damage Artemis would have done. So he's just managed to bung himself in the middle of a street and done nothing for it. If that defense roll had been worse, though, he could have one-tapped him because all the Atlanticans are left bar the crab suit. They have 5 HP each. So that might have been a one-shot had it gone much worse. So we're up to SR7s, and that means Valiants go first. So Angel here was the first activate. She stayed where she was. She spent her 2 energy cubes, which I forgot to remove off her card, on 2 range attacks, straight into the crab suit. Again, consolidated some of the rolls so I can show you all with the numbers rolled in one take. Her first attack did a total of 4 damage. He did boost his shield, but only managed to block 3, so he took 1 damage from that. Second roll, she did 5. He boosted his defense. I'm sorry, he didn't boost his defense at the time, but did manage to roll 5. So all in all, he only took 1 damage of his. I think he has 10 HP, so he's pretty tanky. And now the surviving blue guys all get to go for the Atlanticans, so they get a bunch of activations in a row before we're back over to Broadside. So of those activations, it was Thermal with the dual pistols down here that activated first, and his disruption guns, as we mentioned earlier, means that if he's shooting short range, he rolls crit dice, not normal dice. Consolidated the numbers down again to show all the results. His first attack was 4 damage. Artemis here managed to block all 4 on 2 shield dice. He was not as fortunate on the second shot though, which did 6. He blocked 3 of it, meaning he has taken 3 damage of his... I think he only has 5. So he's pretty close to dead, and if they roll well enough, Nebulous might be able to finish him off down here in this alley, either walking out or just shooting from where he is. We'll see. So we're going to cover the first of Nebulous's actions, but he still has another one because 1 was enough. He boosted his attack, and normally that would add a normal extra die, but presumably the disruption gun roll kicks in and makes it a crit die. If that's not right, apologies. But either way, he rolled a fantastic 7. Artemis was able to block 2. He has 6 HP in total. He had 3 gone, so he is also gone entirely. Nebulous was going to move as his other action, but he's actually within 10 of Topstar, who is in the alley right there. So he's actually just going to take a shot at him, so we'll be back in a second to see how that goes. Well, that other attack could have gone better for Topstar. A massive 9 dice with a powered up second ranged attack from Nebulous. Again, if it wasn't supposed to be a crit die, apologies, but it doesn't matter because even if that extra die wasn't in there at all, that's still enough that he's going to get taken out because he rolled pretty well actually. He rolled 5. He gets an extra shield die because he's obscured if he's getting ranged attacked, and he's lucky so he can re-roll 2 shield dice a turn. It can either be 2 in 1 roll or 1 in 2 rolls, but neither is enough to save him because if you take away the 5, he still took 4, and that's his maximum HP. So Topstar unfortunately just got 1 shot, and all of a sudden there isn't so many Valiants on the table. So the other 2 SR7s to activate are Nami and Egon. They want to hold the objectives obviously to secure victory points and extra power to play with. So they're mostly standing still. Egon had 1 cube that was spent just to reposition ever so slightly behind the building here, but they're staying within 1 of the objectives and doing nothing else. So now we're over to SR8s, so that's Broadsword, and then the SR10s. Well, to say Broadsword had a bit too good of a turn is a bit of an understatement. He spent 2 to do his once per game ram attack ult, which is what most Valiants have as their ult. It's transforming into a vehicle, it gives them triple movement distance, and if you get into base-to-base contact with an enemy, which is what he did, you get an extra critical die thrown in instead of the usual +1 for fighting in close combat. And he's built for close combat. He has a 3 stat, and he basically got almost, not quite, but almost the best possible damage you can get on the number of dice he was rolling, because as you can see, he got 14. I think the most he could have gotten there was, well, let's see, yeah, 3 is the highest on all these dice, isn't it? Yeah, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah. So A little bit too high for the crab suit to deal with. Probably should have activated Armoured Might in the previous turn and maintained it this turn, which is his ult, which gives him extra shield. He rolled just his basic dice. Oh, actually, you know what? No, he didn't, because he spent one extra out of desperation, but it wouldn't make a difference. But hey, let's add in a die for funsies. He ended up blocking 4, which may not be on camera. He blocked 4, but that still means that 9, 10 got through, and he only had 8 health, I think, something like that. He definitely didn't have 10. He started with a bit less than I thought he did. So Broadsword, turning the tide, pardon the pun, against the Atlanticans by taking out the crab suit in one amazing round of combat that hit way above average. He has a combat sword as well, but I believe that's only defensive. It forces a reroll on the attacker's dice. But either way, that means that only General Duke is left to go. He's going to want to hold... Actually, no, he doesn't need to hold that objective. Now he can start hunting down the people holding the backline, I guess. Oh, before we continue, actually, looking at the crab card, he has a role called Force Field. Once per game, he can give either himself or a friendly within 10, I believe it said, 3 extra shield dice. If he maxes this out, I think he'll live, because he started with 8 HP. He had 7 left because he only got hit for 1. So let's see if the extra 3 shield dice would make a difference. No, it blocked 2 more. So in total he blocked 6. He's still taking 8, which would have been his full health anyway. So that didn't change anything, but yeah, I did notice he did have an opportunity to try and super defend himself. But what can you do against a near perfect roll? So to end off what is only the second battle round, and there's so many casualties already for both sides, General Duke just moved twice. He strutted down Main Street. He is heading towards those backline objectives up there, and is going to put the world of hurt on the backline Atlantean units holding them. With that though, we're into the cleanup. So then the second battle round, despite it being largely, well, slightly weighted towards the Valiants now, slaughter, both sides have still held on to their objectives, so it's totally even points wise, but the Atlanticans are steadily running into potential issue of being wiped off the table or reduced to numbers where they just simply can't control enough. But they're 3 people down now, they're 3 strongest. Well, actually no, maybe the ones with the guns and the magnetic disruptors are actually stronger because they're getting crit dice, but they're not sturdy, they don't have a lot of HP. But yeah, the Valiants lost 2 people as well, so they've only got 4 left. It's 4 apiece, actually, as we go into battle round 3, and I'm not sure who's even going first now because the strategy ratings are all over the place. So the fastest bot on the table is Wolf at SR5. He spent 2 cubes to start his turn to do ram attack, transformed into a vehicle, drove down the alley here, smacked right into, is this Thermal or Nebulous? The one with 2 guns is Thermal. Smashed him in the face. He's only got 2 close combat die, but you get a crit thrown in for close combat. Thermal boosted his defense, but whiffed on the shield dice, blocking only 1, meaning that 5 dice got through, so he just evaporates into a cloud of smoke. Now, he did leave an objective to do that, but at this point the Valiants are going for the tabling to, well, just get the win that way, because then holding the points won't matter. Next up are the SR7s, starting with Angel. She spent 2 cubes to double move from up here down to here to hold this point. She could be a little bit further away, but she's doing nothing else with her turn. Now all the surviving Atlanticans get to go in a row, which this will be the nastiest point of the turn. If the Valiants can weather this, they're probably in a good place. She definitely learned not to say things that could be construed as a jinx, so of those 3, Nebulous was the first SR7 to activate, fired short range into Wolf, rolled 6 on the attack. Wolf rolled 1 on his defense. He was wounded earlier. He is out of there. So just like that. Now he has an action left. He's spending... well, actually, he had enough to even boost that, and he didn't. He's probably going to boost a long range attack now downfield to Angel, who's just off to your left there, but that won't be crit dice, so it's not as likely to do as much, but let's see. And there's the results of the second shot. 4 on the attack, 3 on the defense. Angel has taken 1 more damage and has 4 HP remaining. So then it came down to Egon and Nami, and they are sitting on objectives, but if they do just keep doing that, they're probably just going to get picked off by General Duke, so they're going to combine their forces or power and try and take him down. So of the 2 of them, It was Egon who went first. He came around the corner, initiated a close combat attack. He's a pugilist, so even though he's only rolling 2, he does get to do a reroll. Managed to score 4 hits, but General Duke gets 4 shield dice without a boost and managed to block it all. But that does mean when we move over to Nami now, he's also charging in to initiate a close combat attack, and I believe he gets 1 bonus die thrown in for General Duke now being outnumbered. So there is the attack roll. However, totally forgot to throw in a crit die on that first attack. Now, not going to re-roll the whole attack because it was 4 shield dice against 4 damage, so General Duke is taking just however much damage is going to be rolled in an extra crit die, but just to cover the attack that did go in, 4 damage in, 6 blocks, so he took nothing from that, but he is taking 2 damage from that first attack. Totally forgot that the crit die should have been there. But now it's over to him to get some payback. Well, we might cover General... I'm just going to turn towards the camera a little bit so he looks more heroic. We're going to cover General Duke's other action on camera, I think. He's doing 2 powered up close combat attacks. He rolls 4 dice normal, you throw in a black crit die for close combat, but the power up gives him 1 extra purple. One of the 2 he's attacking has a combat shield, haven't done his roll yet, so who is it that has the shield? Nami has the shield, so Egon has blocked 2 damage of the 9 that was done to him and has been murderated. But we're going to just do this live because this could be essentially the end, even though there is still 1 more person on the field, and we'll play on either way. But this many dice again, but the difference is because he's got a combat shield, he gets to roll a crit as his defense. So yeah, that's probably going to be all she wrote. No, actually, whoops, blocked 5. So there's 5 taken away. No, that's still 7. So that's a double kill for General Duke. And ending off the 3rd turn, there is still 1 Atlantecan on the field. We pull back a little bit in that alleyway right there. There's 1 left. So I guess we might as well play 1 more turn or part of it and see if he's able to do anything before he goes out. And just to keep track of things nice and proper at the end of... was that only turn 3? The Valiants are scoring 2 victory points. Oh no, sorry. They're not. Wait, did I not go with Broadsword? I think I early forgot Broadsword. He should have went after the 4 Atlanticans. So he would have only done... He would have just walked back into capture range of the objective there. So they did score their 2 objectives, putting them at 6 to the Atlanticans 4. The Atlanticans don't have anyone left on their 2 objectives. It will just come down to whether they can spitefully maybe get a kill before getting wiped off the table in the next battle round. So we have to go straight to SR7 to get anybody's turn, and that is Angel, followed by the sole surviving Atlantecan, which is Nebulous. She moved up 7, took a shot at him with Sharpshooter for a reroll, and managed to do 5 to him. He boosted his defense, blocked 4, and, I should probably just move this building for this, and has taken 1 damage of his 5 health. So he's 4 left. That means he is going to get a turn, and he is just spitefully going to try and kill Angel with his magnetic disruption gun. It might be fun to just roll that live, which is 3 dice, but because she's in close range, that is crit dice. She has no dice left, so she can't boost her defense, so it's just a straight 3 roll. So his first attack, 6 versus 2. So that's 4 damage, which is actually enough right there to take her out. So for his other turn, he can only move because he can't see anyone. I guess he might as well try and contest an objective, because why not? So Broadsword's just staying on the objective for his turn, so we're going right down to General Duke, who spent 2 on his ram attack, because I don't think he's used it yet, giving him like 21 movement inches, I think. More than enough to come down here, around here, into base to base with the sole surviving Atlantecan Nebulous. Gets 1 bonus die from using ram attack, 1 bonus die from it being a close combat. He rolls 4 normally. He rolled all the numbers ever against 2 block, meaning that goes away, this goes through, and that is a Valiant win as the Atlanticans are blown off the table at turn 4, which is pretty fast. So it may be a Valiant win for them this time, but there is only 2 survivors of the initial 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think it was 6. So it came at a cost, but it is a victory today for the Valiants against the Atlanticans. Next time we will hopefully see one of the armies that come in the second edition starter set, the Turbo Edition, specifically the Coil faction. Maybe put them up against the Deceivers or something like that, but just to try out a new faction, and one of the ones that you get if you do buy the new starter set. Once again, a reminder that these cardboard buildings, cardboard playmats, etc. were provided for free. The models are all mine, so they weren't. But just to make that perfectly clear. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry in advance for anything that was done wrong. It's been well over a year since I last played this, I think, at this point. So it has been a while. But hopefully you enjoyed regardless. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be a link in the description box if you want to go find out more, including stockists in your country if you're interested. And I'll see you next time. Ta for now.